And off we go. So over to Sophie.
Okay, so let's have a look at the list of questions. Okay, so we've got a question about soil compost, what type, how deep, firm, wet, dry. We currently have only 3 inches of bulk compost on top of cardboard, on top of weeds and lawns, surrounded by railway sleepers. 3 inches, what's that in metric? That's like 75 millimeters, 7.5 centimeters. Yeah, okay, so that's not a lot. Yeah, I mean, there's, like Rakesh said, you know, you can look at the root depth of different plants. You can also think about the kind of strength of the root system. Some things are going to grow through that. But generally, yeah, maybe you want to question if you haven't got so much material to start such a system, to question in the beginning, is it the right choice to have a Nordic system? Are there other kinds of materials you can get to add to it? Because you can also, like we started talking about with like a lasagna system, you can also add different things in layers. So if you find could take soil from a different part of your garden, you could take also, if you've got like leaves, if you found like piles of leaves that you could take, we've got like we had a lot of leaves and to build up more layers with those. And then yeah, you can also consider just using more directly the soil you have underneath, because there's a lot of things you can add, but if you really haven't got materials, then you've actually got all the soil in your garden already. So yeah, there's no reason not to count that. Just for a lot of plants you're going to need a bit more. So yeah, it's possible to kind of how to say, to kind of concentrate that compost and lasagna concentrated, so you've got like it's deeper at the spot that you're going to start the plants in. I don't know, Rakesh, what else would you suggest in that discipline? Consider, you get more materials, would you concentrate the soil that you have? In terms, so that's about the depth. In terms of the like firmness of soil, when you're planting things, you want a reasonably firm soil. One of the main problems is that people kind of put fluffy compost or soil mixes. And actually, although you need some oxygen around the roots of the plants, you don't need too much oxygen. If you've got a very, very light, fluffy soil, it's not.
Yeah, your connection's really getting worse, Sophie. You've been pretty much dial a key for a while.
It's not going to be. Let's try on the other internet connection.
Yeah, so just to fill in, so what Sophie was trying to say there is that one of the main problems of having too much oxygen in the soil is it can burn your roots. So while you you don't particularly want really, really, really fluffy soil, but you still want it to be free draining. You want it. So this again is why things like biochar is really ideal, because it gives you the firmness, but it also gives you the air and the oxygen and the free draining possibilities. The other thing that I would do is I would plant things that I know will thrive in that level of soil, while each year I'm building up the soil. So, for example, the first year I'd probably plant mostly potatoes because they don't need much soil depth. What you can do is pretty much put the potatoes more or less on the top of the soil, and then just cover it in mulch material, cover it in straw, hay, whatever you can get access to. And then as it starts coming through, you just put more and more hay and straw on top of it. As more and more organic matter arrives in your garden, you know, as new things come up, you cut them, dry them, and then just keep putting it on top, on top, on top. So you're building up the layers. And you basically just make sure you obviously you leave the green leaves at the top, or enough green leaves at the top. And so what it will do is it will actually start sending shoots out, and it will actually start growing into the actual straw material. So in other words, you don't need the soil depth so much. So that's one strategy I would use. But each year you look to see how is it that you can create more and more soil. I mean, this is actually the first time that I normally phone, send a message to three, what do you call them, tree surgeons, and say, hey, if you're working in the area, just drop off a truckload of wood chip. I leave it to rot down for 3 months, then bang, in it goes into my garden. And this is the first time that they've not responded, or they've responded to say, yeah, we're just starting to go back to work. So as soon as, normally within a few days, bang, I've got wood chip. Really easy, especially here in the city in London. And you can use that effectively to create soil, to create soil depth. As Sophie once said when she was rummaging around digging up, what do you call it, kupina in English, bramble from my garden. She said,
Brambles,
actually,
yeah.
my pathway is richer than most people's soils, most people's growing soils, because I've just been putting wood chip down for, well, I put it down, I think 2-3 times over the last 10 years, and it's really rich. It's really beautiful. So anything else? It sounds like your connection's back, Sophie.
Yeah, I think I'm out of Dalek land. Yeah, I mean, like you said, Rakesh, I think, you know, the ingredients you find are going to be different depending on your situation. Like here, I can't get wood chips for love or money, but because I'm in a like kind of field area, I've got like a lot of straw bales. They're easy. I'm growing sweet potatoes in straw bales this year. I can get like straw and manure from a neighbor's horse. I've been to other places like in the city where there's like huge piles of leaves. Like even from the year before, you can find places in the park where they've like piled them up under trees and they've started rotting down and making a really good leaf mold. Someone was just mentioning they found a place with some interesting sandy looking soil in a big pile near them. So, you know, there are lots of resources and it's actually like an interesting thing to go around and see what you could find. And generally, yeah, anything that's lived can live again. So anything that came from a living substance can be composted and can break down and can create new life for the plants.
Yeah, here in my local council for the last, I think, couple of months, they've not been collecting green waste, so garden waste, which they're about to start again soon. So I just contacted a few local people, say, hey, if you've got any grass, if you've got anything interesting, just drop it off at my place. So I've had a few batches of different things. Unfortunately, people snuck in loads of holly and some roses and ivy and a few other things as well. the holly being the biggest pain, because it's ended up on part of my pathway, and you can't walk barefoot anymore. So hopefully the next batch of wood chip that comes will sort that out. But it's a free resource. People are cutting these things anyway. I can just cycle and just go pick it up and bring it to my place, or they drop it off. So it's a free resource, and it builds up the biodiversity. It builds up the soils. Okay, so
Yeah, it's great.
Is anything else you want to add to Sarah's list?
I'm just looking at the questions. I think, yeah, in the first presentation we spoke already about the vegetable seedlings and how to protect the veggies from weather and from pests. So yeah, I think for people who are interested, just kind of different keywords like looking at lasagna beds and raised beds. There's really a lot of information on the internet. People have different ideas. Should you put cardboard on the bottom to have food for worms and to suppress the weeds in the beginning? Should you not put cardboard so that you can let the soil organisms come more into your soil? If you've got like unrotted manure at the bottom, you could let them work in that and then put cardboard near the top to keep moisture in. Again, like depending on the situation in the garden, you can really experiment, or you could make different kinds of recipes in different areas and then compare the results.
Great. Do you, by the way, Sophie, have any photographs of when we were making the forest garden, where we were using cardboard and stuff?
What, in our place?
At your place, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That'd be interesting to put up as a little presentation.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, we were there where we put those borders down for the paths today, and it's great. Like the wood's really rotted now, so there's like all these different like fungal activity and wood lice and amazing ants. Yeah, like lots and lots of creatures in that wood as it's breaking down. Yeah, beetles. Like, yeah, it's great. You just have a look underneath and through them. And even the couch grass has grown like straight through some of them.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll find some pictures.
Cool. So we've got 5-6 minutes. Can I suggest 4 or 5 minutes? Let's just do a quick checkout. So just a few words, maybe a highlight, something that you saw that you enjoyed, something that you learnt. And I'll go in the order that I see it on my screen. So I'll start with Alex and then Julie.
I'm frozen, but lasagna beds I'm interested. I'm going to Google that and have a look at that now.
Okay, cool. So yeah, Julie and then Maria.
So much. It's been wonderful, but I would like to have a go at creating a biochar cook stove. I think that's high on my list, so thanks for that. Cool.
Yep, I can help you with that for sure. So Maria and then Sophie.
Hi, excuse the hey, you're awesome. That's my son's thing. But yes, so much food for thought. Thank you so much. And one of the main things actually that really stood out when we went out in the breakout room, thank you, Sophie, for sharing the sand and the soil combination. So I hadn't done that with my little seeds that I planted, and I've just repotted them outside and they're not doing very well. So clearly I need to put some sand in together with the soil. So again, and so much food for thought. I could talk for half an hour. So thank you. I'll zip it now.
Sand, perlite. There's so many different things you can use to air it. Biochar, obviously.
You just don't think of that on a balcony, but yeah, thank you.
So S, I'm not sure who S is. So Sophie, and then after Sophie is S, whoever that might be.
So I'm excited to go and find my sit space now. I can't believe I have such a big garden and I haven't found a sit space yet. So yeah, really excited, really grateful for everything that everyone shared. And yeah, thank you so much.
Good. S and then Anina.
Sorry, I was on mute there. Absolutely everything I've enjoyed. Certainly the biochar stuff. I want to look into that more and explore. Everything. My head is just buzzing with all sorts. The spirals, the sitting position, absolutely everything. There's not one part I didn't enjoy, and it stimulated more questions in my head that I'll explore and try and integrate.
Okay, S. Do you want to unmute yourself and say something?
It's Sobia. Sobia.
Is it Sobia?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
There she is.
Hi, hiya. Sorry, I was had gone away for a few minutes.
No problem.
Are we packing up now?
Yeah. So just anything that you picked up, anything you learnt, anything that was
Yes.
interesting. Just a couple of words.
Biochar. That's quite an interesting thing for me. I think I'll probably have to watch a few YouTube videos on that and see how that works. It's just something that I've not come across before. So that was maybe I need to watch you in action, Rakesh, one day when you're doing it on live. Yeah.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you. It's all been very interesting. I just wanted to say I messaged you, but I haven't received the links to last week's classes. So if you could look into that for me, please.
Okay, sure, no problem.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, so I'm lost. So yeah, I mean, wow, what a really rich diversity of amazing skills that we have between us. It again always shows how amazing, you know, if we come together, if we work together, if we support each other, there's so many things that between us we all know and can share, and it's just really wonderful. So I just want to thank everyone who presented something, and for everyone who joined and participated in whatever way, asked good, great questions. And yeah, I look forward to doing this again. So there's talk that maybe, all right, we've done a few now. This is the third one within a month, more or less, maybe 5 weeks. But we're thinking maybe just to go back to doing it, maybe something like monthly or something, and have a fixed pattern. So let's see. I don't know. Maybe we'll just throw one up at the last minute again as well, or let's see where it goes. But for sure, it's been really, really great. Really inspired by all the things that people have done and said so far. So thank you all very much, and I look forward to seeing you wherever, whenever, inshallah. Great. Lots of love, everyone. You take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Lots of love. Thank you, everyone.
Ciao, ciao. Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself and say goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
As well, Cecile. Wonderful.
Thank you. Bye-bye.